If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm Jay Clay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Perfect. Everything, anything, plenty perfect. Everything, anything, plenty perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty perfect mode. Perfect mode, everything, anything, plenty perfect mode. Perfect.
Yeah.
What up? Welcome to. Let me start by telling you that we love y'all. We're grateful for the opportunity to be anywhere, sharing our thoughts, hopefully, and helping you realize that you are perfect. And the reason why I can say that unapologetically is because I know that you are one of one, numero uno. You cannot be replicated, duplicated. And the only reason, and I mean the only reason you think that you're not is you looking at this person on and I'm not them. But guess what? You are you, and that's all you need. And of course, it's yours truly, Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. And I have to, bring my boy in, Jay Clay, spiritual rapper and teacher. And we're about to jump on and talk about how to stop overworking and start thriving. Stop overworking and start thriving. What up, Jay?
What up? What up? Happy Sunday to all my perfect people in perfect land at the perfect place at the perfect time. Ready to talk about our perfection. And yeah, it's a good Sunday. It's a good topic. I like this topic because I'm one who can tend to overwork. And I am one who likes not working at the same time. It's a special relationship with it all. And yeah, I want to get into this.
Yeah, so I will tell you, when I first saw the topic, my initial thought was, am I overworking anything? And if I am overworking it, why am I considering it overworking? Is it just that I don't like what I'm doing, or I feel like it's not really necessary and I'm trying to fill in the gaps because I feel like someone else thinks that I should do it? And so, that's kind of the things that kind of ran through my head and literally thinking of myself. But what about you, Jay?
Yeah, it's one of those things like sometimes people run into the trap of thinking like they do something more, if they do more work, it might lead to more rewards. But we've seen a lot of hard workers who are struggling, who've been grinding for years and still hold the title of grinder. And it's like something has to give, or maybe we could just be going about it the wrong way. And that's what I definitely want to explore. Because I have, again, like I said, I've noticed some ways in my own behavior that should be tweaked accordingly. And I want to make sure we all get back on track.
And so I think that where I want to start this at is just like anything else that we do in perfect mode, is realizing what we're saying, understanding what we're thinking. And the first thing that came to my mind when you just said that was, especially when you said the word grinding, is that I remember how many times I hadn't seen in a while, and then I saw them like, hey man, what's up? What's going on? And my response was, man, just grinding like I always be. Or I might say, man, just working hard, just out here trying to survive. And, when you really think about these words or the way that I'm portraying who I am, and it's important when I say portraying who I am, because no matter what I portray, I'm going to become that thing. And so it's funny, the words that I've used over and over again through time, and to end up being where I place myself and where I pride myself to be in order to, I guess, facilitate my life. But what about you, Jay?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely said that back in the day. You're like, what's up, grinding, and even when you say it, you feel it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like grinding. You're not saying, man, I'm happy, man. I'm living life. I'm enjoying life. It's a different vibration. And somewhere along the way, like we believed in that. You know what I mean? And not to say that it's wrong. I'm grateful for my experience about that. But are you gonna grind forever? Like, really, is that what life is about? When you can accomplish so much more from doing what you love. So okay, I'll say this, because I was trying to think when the topic came up, like how did people get in this mindset of it? And I think it's twofold. I think maybe the people who are paying people to work, they want them to work more. So they create a culture around the working, like, yeah, you should work more, you get more the more you work and all of that. But also we see people that excel in certain things, but we're not taking the fact that they love it. Like they can't see themselves not doing it. It's almost a compulsion because they do it all the time. They can't stop doing it. Like music and me, I can't stop even if I tried. I have tried to stop making music, can't happen. And when you don't look at it fully with that love component, you might say, oh, they're thriving, they're making a lot of money in this field, I can do this field too. You can, but if you're not adding that love to it, if you're not adding that joy to it, it's a grind.
So I'll add this to that as well. And again, going back to what I was saying, the way that I portray myself or the way that I might give myself to people, I'm initiating the conversation and I'm also initiating my life. But I think the other part to this is the fact that we glorify the grind. We put it on a high pedestal. Even people that we've seen as successful, when we hear back the words that they say, man, I started from the bottom and I grinded, now I'm here. Or you just don't know my story. I had zero. And the reality of it is, no matter where we are, we all start at zero. Like it doesn't matter if you have even if you have $1 million, you still start at zero in some aspects of things that you want to do. And I think the part where we get lost in translation is the fact that we're glorifying it in a backwards manner versus saying, you know, how I got here, I fell in love with what I was doing. I fell in love with the process. So what are you doing now? Man, I'm just loving what I'm doing every day. I'm loving my process. I'm loving learning something new. And again, even with me being a substitute, I can kind of see this mentality permeating in kids' heads. Like, you know, oh, you know what, Mr. Washington, I got this kid that comes to me all the time and say, man, what I need to grind on next, Mr. Washington, I'm trying to get to this speed. And I'm like, look, man, you got to fall in love with what you're doing. If you love it, then it will come. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I love that because that is the mentality, and you don't realize that you're sowing the seeds of grinding. So you're never reaching the point that you're grinding for because all you know is grind. I make it here. I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep grinding. One day I'm gonna get there. One day I'm gonna get there. But you're never actually allowing yourself to get there. And that's a switch we need to make because how do I say this? It's a lot of fear involved. Like we can move love based or we can move fear based. And a lot of times when people are grinding or working, is fear based. They don't really believe maybe in themselves or just their environment or just the circumstances. Like you said, we all kind of started from zero, but not quite because there's so many things around to help us out. Like whether it's our parents, whether it's a system, there's so many programs and things to help you out no matter where you are at. But a lot of times people don't even want that help. They want to be the helper. They want to grind, but they don't want to accept the help, even though you really can't experience anything without accepting help on some level.
You know, so number one, I'll add to what you're saying about accepting help, but it's like recognizing that the help is there, because sometimes you can't accept something that you know is there for you to have. That's the first thing that I would say about that. Could you just imagine, bro? Like, again, the way that we see things, the way that we allow ourselves to feel about things, but we don't do everything that way. Could you just imagine saying, like, hey, man, Troy, how you and Charnay doing? Man, we just grinding. We trying to grind this marriage. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or, you know, man, what's it like having kids? Man, that mug is a real grind. Like we don't speak that way because we love our kids. We love initiating or being a part of all the things that they got going on. We love our relationships. And again, just the way you glorify it is what, because if I was coming here and saying, man, Jay, this marriage, bro, it's a grind, baby, I wouldn't be there long. The reason why is because my steps have to automatically match the way that I'm presenting or feeling. And even though I might not say on the surface level, or I might not act on the surface level, like the way that my words are coming out, it doesn't mean that I'm not internally moving that way. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, man, it's so okay. So back to the fear thing. I was having a conversation with one who was like kind of complaining, like, man, all I do is work. I'm tired of this and all this. Don't work. I gotta work because I gotta feed myself and all of that stuff. And then I posed the question, well, what happened if you didn't? Like, what happened if you didn't work and they went to homelessness? And this is just me thinking I didn't say this to them, but like, why is that your go-to? Like, it could be, it might not be what has led you to believe that before, but also homelessness might not necessarily be a bad thing. It might allow you to travel. It might allow you to visit other people. It's so many things at play if we're willing to ask ourselves different questions, try different things. Because I can honestly say that when I loosened the reins and said, could there be another way instead of me just trading my time for money or me doing this and that, trying to get more and more and more, squeezing the life out of it. And it is true because when you're in that mindset, you don't realize it, but you kind of rub people the wrong way. Like, you might be doing your job and you have an agitation about yourself. So it's just like you're not getting the best out of yourself or the person that you're doing it for. It's just so many things involved when you're not doing it with that heartfeltness.
No, bro. So what's funny is I literally just had this talk with either TJ or Brody, and they were talking about homeless people, and of course, there has to be a lot of maturity on my part because I know how I used to feel about homeless people not really understanding, what I was looking at. And the funniest thing is I literally told Brody or TJ, I forgot who I was talking to again. And I was like, the reality of it is not every person that's homeless wants to be homeless, but a lot of them do. A lot of them chose the life that they wanted to. And not only did they choose it, if you look at interviews, they glorified the way that they're living. And so what I mean by that is I've heard plenty of homeless people say, I love the fact of being free and not having to worry about, where the next text coming from or, these other things. And then I go, you go on to hear them say, what about where you're living at or, your living conditions? Well, my living conditions are not bad for me. My living conditions are great because I'm able to get up and move, like you said. I'm able to go around people that I want to be around. And it's funny that a simple mentality change it stops that from being, because in my mind, I feel like that's hard work all day. Telling me I got to get warm, I got to find somewhere to sit. What if somebody want to come take my little stuff that I have? It's so much stuff that goes through your mind when you don't have the right mentality to navigate it. But go ahead, Jay.
It's funny you say that because it made me think about how I'm living now and how I'm comfortable in the way I'm living. But there are probably some people like, how could he live like that? How could he just be in that home? You need a mansion or something. I don't know. Like it's probably somebody else. Or on the other end, it's probably a homeless person. Like, I can't believe he got to go pay rent. He got to make sure his grass is cut. He got to do all this. I don't want all that stress. I'm happy with myself. And it's all perspective, which is why it's important that you align your perspective with what you enjoy so that you can always do it. But again, your beliefs play a part in that as well. And again, we talked about this plenty of times, like what you believe you experience. So it's a matter of changing your beliefs as you're going through the action of what you don't want to do so that you can meet in the middle.
And again, that's the reason why I'm glad we started the show out the way that we started it, because like when you think about I feel like you have to realize that you're overworking. And a part of you feel like realizing that you're overworking is what you're thinking about what you're doing. Again, I'm right now currently managing all of our YouTube pages, right? And I ask myself this question over and over again. Like I would literally ask myself in a moment's time, do I feel like doing this? And so when I ask myself that, there's a feeling that comes over me. There's of course, a lot of it is imaginatory, meaning I'm imagining or I'm envisioning, certain things, but nonetheless, it gives me a different feel about what I'm doing in that moment. And so now it doesn't feel like overworking it. Now there's enthusiasm, there's energy, there's this propelling in me that tells me do this. And now I don't feel like it's not only do I not feel like it's a lot, I want to do more. I want to drop more. I want to put more out there. But go ahead, Jay.
So what was cool about that and you doing the YouTube is one, when you started doing it, I was like, man, in my mind, man, that's a grind. I hope he do it. I'm gonna give him whatever he need. He asked, he want to do it. You got full range, just do it. But in you doing it, I saw the joy and I saw the appreciation. And you were giving me nuggets of wisdom, like, hey, just put out a short a day. And I was like, that is very easy to do. Or you actually said 2. And I was like, well, why not just start with 1? I'm doing nothing right now. Nothing gets no views. And once I started doing it, I started getting more and more views. Like I have one right now that is the biggest that I've had out of all my shorts, YouTube shorts. And it made me realize like the flaw before why I saw it as such a grind. I was trying to handle too many platforms at once. I was trying to manage this and have a caption for this and that. And it's like, just start simple. Get the habit of that, or get in the free flow of that, and then go to the next thing. Don't be so quick to jump to expert level from novice. And like I feel good, and I'm happy that you said that, because if you had not done that, I wouldn't start doing this myself. But it just goes to show, whatever you're doing, there's always an easier way, or there's not necessarily easier. There's always a more aligned way that you enjoy, where you still put in the work, but it's not hard work. It's fun work or easy work.
So it's 2 things I want to touch on based off what you just said. So number 1, this overarching thought process for perfect mode. Like, again, I want to stress to everybody, you are perfect. You do not need anything else. Nothing on the outside of you. Everything you need, you have. And you just being you is what we need in order for this coexistence, this co-collaboration to be this great space that it actually is right now. So I want to say that, because what we're talking about is action-based things, meaning you have to take some action in order for what we're talking about to make sense, in a sense, because it says how to stop overworking. And the reason why I break it down like that is because I never want to insinuate that you have to do anything. If your mental makeup is to do nothing, then do nothing, because ultimately that's what's going to make you happy. Make you happy. But when it comes to action-based things, back to J. Clay's point, and when I said recognizing you have to recognize when you're overworking. I love the fact that I gave you an idea. This is key. I gave you an idea and I said, hey, you should just do 2 a day. And you were able to easily recognize to yourself, well, I don't want to do 2 a day. The reason why you didn't want to do 2 a day is because forget about what you might think about 2 a day would be. You just knew for yourself that's too much right now. But you know what you did say? Because I know this is an action-based item, I have to do something. What can I do in order to feel good about myself and then also accomplish the action? And you say, you know what? Just 1 a day. Now, the beautiful part about that is that when you started to do the 1 a day and you took, because now it's no longer a grind, right? You like you said, I no longer define this as a grind. I made it easy for myself. Now, because the negative connotation, and I'm not saying grinding is negative, just saying based off of our conversation, based off of the negative connotation being taken away, you've been able to open yourself up for more possibilities. And I think that's the beauty of it, because now you're saying, okay, well, cool, I did this. Well, let me see what else Troy have to say. And I'm not saying I'm going to take it all on, because I don't want to be overwhelmed or overworked. But maybe I could add another piece to this. And I think that's really, really important. And I appreciate you sharing that. You said, I heard what you said, but I still formed this in a way that made sense for me. But go ahead.
Yeah. So check this out. Like, for those that don't know, like we chose this topic in advance. So like the coincidence of this happening for me this week was, I say Wednesday. It was Wednesday. I was sore from like workouts and stuff. And just, I was mentally tired, and I had so much to do. When I say so much to do, so much to do. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna make the decision. I'm not doing nothing else for the rest of the day. I don't care. I'm done. I'm not doing nothing for the rest. And I really didn't do anything. I didn't feel bad about it. Because, you know, sometimes you might say, I don't feel like it, and you teeter-tottering, but you still not fully committing to rest. So I did this. And then that next day, Thursday, something just hit me. It was like, what would happen if you just did everything on your to-do list? Just do it. And I just did it with ease, one thing after another. It didn't feel overwhelming. Like that mental weight that it had the day before, it was gone. It was like I was being helped along the way. And the only thing was I just listened to myself to rest and fully committed to the rest. And it's funny how naturally after you were replenished, you're able to do the next thing. But sometimes when we're in the throes of something, we think that's how it's always going to be. So it's like, man, I got to just make the best of it now. I got to push through this. I got to push. But the more you push through something, you strengthen it in your mind as a bigger adversary than it is. But when you let go, you get into that flow state. And it's like, you know what? I'm chilling. And then when it's time to go. And man, y'all, my to-do list is 0 right now. Well, one thing popped up for the day, but for like the rest of the day, it's 0, and it hasn't been 0 in probably like half a year.
Yeah, and so super tight on you doing the to-do list and also doing it when it made sense for you. Because again, I want to stress the importance of you could have done the same thing 2 days later and you could have been worked. And that's simply because you felt like that's not what you should be doing. And this is an action-based. You just moved off to a better time when you had a better mentality, when you felt the energy and you did it. So now it's no longer overworked, even though it's the exact same thing. But I think another part to this, again, for me is just trying to understand yourself, right? Like, because I understand riding the energy wave, to your point. Like when you're in the grind and you like, man, I got to get this done, and then you're going against opposing forces. You like, I'm gonna push through no matter what. I'm gonna push through, and you don't want to quit. And I'm saying this because of myself, right? I know I'm speaking, but you don't want to quit because you also feel like if I stop now, then I'll never come back to this, or I'm never going to get it done. And there's all this opposition comes just because you already started out in opposition in the beginning. You won't even have these other thoughts if you're not fighting. Of course, nobody wants to come back and fight later. Of course, nobody wants to come back and push the car up the street later. So if I'm able to change the way that I'm thinking about it now, like you did, come back later, now I don't feel like I'm fighting anything. And again, realizing that because I didn't ride that energy wave that I felt like was a positive energy wave, I'm not missing anything. You know what they say in science is matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It just moves to a different area or a different place or a different time. And it's up to you to cultivate that and make it do what it's supposed to do. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, man, I got to share this again. I haven't shared this on here in years. My wave story. So one time, y'all, I was at some tropical beach somewhere, and it was high waves. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna stand in the middle of these waves and hold my ground. And I did it. It hurt a little bit when the wave hit me because I was standing my ground with this massive wave. So I was like, okay, I got something. I'm a meet its force. When it come, I'm a gut check the wave. And I did it. It didn't hurt, but it was some sting. Like I felt it, like me gut checking it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna let go completely and let the wave take me and see what happens. So I let the wave take me. It kind of like brought me on shore a bit, but it wasn't. I don't know. It was weird. So I said, okay, I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm gonna ride the wave. Like I'm gonna let the wave take me, but I'm gonna ride it. So when it came, I kind of turned over and did like the Superman pose. And I had so much fun doing that. Like it was like it was the same motion of I got pushed back on shore, but it was fun, and I felt nothing but joy. I don't know even if I hit the ground, I didn't feel it because I was just so much in that joy. And like when I realized what happened, I was like, man, that's a powerful lesson. Like we're always trying to go maybe against the grain, or we're trying to stand our ground, show how tough we are. But what would happen if we actually rode the wave? Not just let it take us, but like we let it take us and we use that as a guide to push us further toward where we want to go. And it's just mind blowing that we don't do that when it's like the current is taking us where we want to go if we would relax and just ride it.
So shouts out to Jay Clay still being here, y'all, because Jay Clay could be floating out somewhere in the ocean right now. No, but all jokes aside, though, I'm going to continue to ride this wave that we're on. I don't know if you remember this, but this is not to because I want the audience to realize that the point that you're making is very, very important. And this is going to sound like this is off the point, but this is bringing another factor into the equation, I guess I should say. Because a lot of times when you're trying to overcome or trying to stop overworking and overcome that and start thriving, sometimes you have to be able to lean on other people or other resources. And sometimes we don't want to do that because of what we feel people might think of us, or what we might feel, or how we might think of ourselves not being up for considered to be the challenge to get whatever we're trying to get done. And the reason why I said ride the wave is because there was a time when you and I were in Cancun before as well. and and in this ocean, we're just floating along, riding the wave, just having fun. Well, it was just me, right? And it was just me floating along, having fun. And before I know it, me, Jay Clay, and some other people that we were with, we were just in the water further. We weren't even deep where we could not come back.
Not me. I was like, hey, y'all tripping.
And before I know it, the current had me. And you want to talk about fighting and being overworking, trying to fight your way back. And a part of this is mentality. I have to be able to get back. If I'm not able to get back, what is everybody going to think of me? And what ended up happening was I got outside of that mindset, and we ended up making a chain where all of our hands were connected, and we pulled our way out of the water. And the reason why I bring that up is because, again, there is a point where I could just be floating out in the ocean somewhere right now, right? You know, shout out to Jake again. But the reality of it is, I decided to realize that I didn't have to do this all alone. I realized that nobody's going to look at me crazy for working with us as a team in order to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, like I remember that day, like in this situation, the current was going the opposite way from land, whereas in mine it was going totally. I remember I was like, you have fun. I'm a chill on here. And I remember that I was like, man, I lost my boy Troy, man. There's nothing I could like. It was nothing I could do. Like it was like if I go out there, I'm gone too. And yeah, but I'm glad it worked out.
Bro, I was swimming with all my might. And again, again is to the point of the show. I was swimming with all my might and I wasn't going anywhere. Just FYI. Like I went underwater, I wasn't coming back. I was swimming on top of water, I wasn't coming back. There was nothing that I could do in that moment. And I was really overworking, but I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thriving, and I wasn't realizing there are tools. And again, I said that the intro, even talking about Chat GPT as well. Like I'm one of these people who feel like technology just be crazy sometimes, and I don't want to do all the shortcuts and all that kind of stuff. But the reality of it is me choosing not to look outside of myself. And again, don't look outside of yourself. You have everything you need. But sometimes there are tools that you've even created in your mind that are there for you to use in order to facilitate making this an easier process for you. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I love that too. And sometimes it's a matter of just learning the tools that we already use. Like you won't believe how many times I've had something for years, and I was like, let me learn something. Like even my phone, I remember like watching a tutorial on stuff I could do with my phone. I was like, oh, I had this all along and didn't know it. I was only using it in this way, and that's why I love that you pointed that out, because we do have everything we need. We do right now in where we are to have, do whatever we want, like literally whatever we want. I've been seeing proof of it unravel. There's even, I want to say it's a Bible quote, something about where Jesus says something like, you know, look at the birds. Like, do they not have food and shelter and stuff all the time?
Look at the flowers.
Yeah. And if you want proof of it, like with the food, that like when you have no food will be available. Just say you fasting and watch how many people offer you free food without even knowing that you're fasting.
Real talk though. you hit that. And again, my question would be, why are you so afraid to give yourself the look that you should have been giving yourself the entire time? It's funny how we minimize who we are. And again, this is all framed from the standpoint of me saying that I don't want to overwork myself. But this is the true reality of it all. Everything that I have around me, the things and including the people, including the technology, they are all things that I have put here. I literally put it all here. And the fact that I cannot process or register in my mind that me trying to do this alone is not the ideal way for me to do it is beyond me, or it should be beyond you. Because again, when I think about overworking, simple, just to kind of give you an example, bro. I had when I first got my first contract for real estate, first got my first contract for real estate, I was afraid to do it. I didn't know who to contact. Well, I guess I wouldn't say I won't know who to contact. I didn't want to contact anybody. And so what I ended up doing was I sat in front of this contract for 2 hours, just looking at it over and over, trying to Google stuff, just doing all of this stuff, overworking. And again, I put people in my life for a reason. I did it. They didn't just show up, just out of nowhere. They're in my life. They're people that I've developed relationships with through work, through thriving, right? And the moment when I have the opportunity to reach out to one of them to make my life as easy as it should be, as easy as I've created for myself, I hesitate. And I spent 2 hours doing something that I could have done in 20 minutes because it was 1 or 2 questions. And so, again, number one, recognizing that I'm overworking. Number two, understanding that the work has already been done. You might not look as you building your life up the way that you've done it, but you did. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I love that too. And I was just thinking an example of that. Shout out to my uncle. He had called me last night because he had like a business idea, and he just reached out to make the process easier. Like, how did I get this made? And I didn't realize I knew how as much as I knew in that field because to your point that one of the things I got from it is like not only do you know more than you realize you know, but so do the other people too. And they might not know it until you give them that opportunity. And by you reaching out, making it easier on yourself, you actually raise the tide of all ships like involved. Like they feel better about being able to help you. They learn something about themselves and perspective. And also you make this job easier for you and you feel more connected because it's nothing worse than doing it all by yourself and feeling disconnected from everybody. Like you hear the horror stories all the time where they say it's lonely at top. But then when you see the people that thrive with their friends, where all of them at top, like you see how joyful their life is. And I love that, man. It is about giving others those opportunities as well, because we are one and we thrive as a community, and we shouldn't deny ourselves that just for pride or ego or whatever.
And again, I'm going to come back and hit you with give yourself credit for everything that you've done. Give yourself, because a part of this mind shift is if I'm giving myself credit for everything in my life, which I understand why it might be hard for you to do that, because even me saying it out loud right now, I can get how you could have thoughts of, well, I mean, I'm not really responsible for these, but the reality of it is there are people that stay in their house all day, every day. They don't get out and they don't associate with anybody, nor do they do anything, nor like they're literally to themselves. And so because they're literally to themselves, they don't do anything with anybody. They have still created something for themselves. It just might not be as resourceful as what you created for yourself. And you have to understand that because you've done these things, you set yourself up in such a way that overworking is impossible. You've literally eliminated that whole process of it, but then still throw yourself back in. And that's the most amazing thing about it all, to show you how we think and how we work. And so my challenge will be for everybody. Number one is still recognizing when you're overworking, but number two, giving yourself credit for everything that you've created. I give myself credit for Jay Clay being in my life, because the reality of it is he doesn't have to be. I don't have to talk to him every week. I don't have to talk to him on a weekly basis. I didn't have to make music with him. I didn't have to travel with him. Those are things that I chose to do. And again, there wasn't any, I wasn't doing it for the purpose of I'm going to use him later, but I did it for the purpose of my life being the quality of life that I wanted it to live. And that's how you have to look at yourself in order to, so that way you can credit yourself and utilize everything to make your life easy. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And we often we talked about this before a couple weeks ago too. Like we put more weight on stuff. So like when I spoke about how Wednesday I was overwhelmed, the only reason I was overwhelmed is because I associated certain beliefs with certain actions. I was like, man, as soon as I do this, this is gonna solve this problem and solve this problem. This is gonna make this easier. And it shouldn't. That shouldn't have that much weight. It's like this will add to more ease, by the time it's complete. But this by itself is just an action. That's all it is. It doesn't have any built-in meaning, nothing else. And by me doing that, I was kind of demeaning the now moment the now moment. The meaning, like you said, what I did so far or what was done for me so far. It was almost like I was slapping the blessing in the face and like, that blessing don't mean nothing. It's all about this blessing I'm gonna bring myself in the future when I finish this task. And in some ways you can say it's like we're spitting in the face of God. God is all love, so God would never take it like that and never sees it like this. But this is just our own conflicting mind trying to impose ourselves onto God, so to speak. And it's if we only knew how not only protected but supported we are, we would never struggle again. Like we would never allow ourselves to think a thought of struggle. Because yeah, truthfully, we're never struggling. We're just thinking thoughts of struggling, which makes us feel like we're struggling.
I love that. And again, you could check yourself in any given moment to realize if you're struggling or not. Like there have been plenty times where I funny enough, I'm gonna talk about me, but before I talk about this, bro, I know you had to have witnessed it before when somebody was stressed out about something and somebody told them just stop and take a breath, just stop and breathe, just stop and gain your composure. So, and the reason why that happens is because we know that you have to take a second to really get a grip on this moment, like really understand this moment. In this moment, am I finna die? In this moment, is the world finna collapse? In this moment, and I say all of those because this is a way that I've been before. I've literally had to make myself realize the truth in any given moment. And again, that's something that I challenge people to do, like that when you feel overwhelmed, overworked, give yourself that moment to break and look at the situation for what it is. How detrimental is this to me? Is this really important? And funny enough, when I think about, us using tools or accepting what's in front of us. Look, I just started with ChatGPT not too long ago. And I'm not going to get into everything that I'm doing with ChatGPT, but it's funny only because I allow myself to recognize it and utilize it. I'm so taken back by it. I'm like, oh my God, this makes life so easy. And, I'm energetic about it. I'm trying to share it with everybody. But here's the true reality of it. This ease, this thriving that I'm feeling right now was available before ChatGPT. There was something called Hootsuite back in the day. There was something before that. I think about when we were hustling on Amazon, selling CDs. Like there's always been something in place for us to make our life easier if we were willing to take the time to take that breath and look at it in its true form. Look at it for what it truly was. And again, I just encourage that a lot of times things are going to seem too big because they are new. But if you allow yourself to breathe, realize, and again, not try to work it, just understand it first, then it's going to change the whole dynamic of the process. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Another reason why the breath works too is slow breath is associated with ease, with being relaxed. Like even when you finish something that you needed to finish, you're like, and it's almost like you let go. And even when you're breathing in slow, like you're relaxed when you're breathing in slow. You can't breathe in slow and be tense. It's almost impossible. It is impossible because just the act of slow breathing in relaxes you. And so the important thing about the breath is like you can see things from a relaxed standpoint instead of a tense standpoint. Like even when I'm working out, I'll practice slow breathing even when I'm just out of breath, tired. And like I've done workouts where like somebody like, man, you need to breathe. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm taking my slow breath because it's like you never panic in certain situations. Like panic is we gotta do this, but nah, we good. Let's do this. Even though you can be running into a wall in the car. Oh, I need to apply my brakes. Like you can think better. And I'm using that example because I've been in that example before where I had to slow down in order to see what to do. And so it is important to breathe and practice your breath and know that you can always go back to your breath.
Now, this is what's funny about this. I'm glad you brought that up too, because I got to bring running into the equation. And it's funny that if you were on a treadmill today and you were running and your breathing wasn't right, they're going to tell you that you're overworking. Off top, it's a thing, and the reality of it is, as you're not breathing right, if you're in a panic breath, your heart rate will increase as well. And your thought process will change as well. Meaning, like, you start to say, okay, how much longer I got left? Oh, I'm getting tired. Like, everything kind of operates together. It's like a domino effect, but vice versa. And I've done this when I was doing my 30-minute runs, and I got to that part where I could not control my breath in a sense, right? And I was breathing heavy, and then I'm looking at my heart rate go up and starting to hear myself talk, telling myself that it's almost over or I'm going to get to the end of it. And then realizing that if I don't change something in that moment, that I'm not going to make it to the end of or what my goal was. And in those moments, I can remember vividly running and then telling myself, relax, just breathe. And then as I kept on running and I focused on my breath, the only thing that I was thinking about at that part was my breath. I wasn't thinking about quitting anymore. I wasn't thinking about how tired I was anymore. But the other thing that happens as I'm watching it, my heart rate starts to decrease. And it's funny. Now I go from overworking to thriving and also realizing, dang, I might be able to run for another 15 more minutes. And it was something as simple as taking the time to recognize the moment for what it truly was. Are you really tired, Troy? You're not really tired. Or why are you, why are you running? Why are you breathing that way? Can you slow your breath down? Oh, you can't slow your breath down. And so just helping myself see the pathway through it really brought me back to where I was supposed to be. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And just to bring up like let's bring up weed, for example. Like a lot of people will smoke weed because it slows them down, it calms them down. But like once you start really practicing your slow breaths, you won't need that anymore to slow you down. Like you'll be able to just be calm at your own state. So much so that if you were to then smoke weed in that state, it would actually lower your vibration tremendously. Where like, I'm not doing this no more, which is something I've tried. Like I've experimented with weed before, and I can't do it because it's like I don't exist anymore. It's almost like I don't even know how to explain it, but I've seen people who it really does calm them down, but it's because they are always in that fight or flight mode. Like they're thinking about this, they're thinking about that, they're fearful of this, they have anxiety about this. And this is not a knock or a push for it. I just wanted to just show people like where you can stand in the midst of it, where it could be a hindrance, it could be a help, but you have the tools already without needing anything external to get to the same place.
And I will co-sign that by using our show theme as a part of it. There's nothing else that you need. You have it all in you, no matter what. But I still want to elaborate on the whole thought process where you were going for weed to slow you down. But if you practice slow breathing, if you practice like the thing, there's something that we practice all day, every day, nonstop, and that's thinking, no matter what. Outside of that, breathing. It's just it like these two things, like we are professionals at. We are professional thinkers. We are professional breathers, right? And the habits. Funny, I was watching this show called Lucifer one day, and they said the funniest, slightest joke that I ever heard it made me pause and realize something in myself. Lucifer was talking to his mom, which was the goddess of all creation, of course, on the show, and she said, "I hate being around these humans. They breathe through their mouths, right?" And so in my mind, I was like, "What's she talking about?" But then I caught myself breathing through my mouth, and I was like, okay, well, obviously, nothing really be wrong with breathing through your mouth, but I also understand what she was saying, right? And so the reason why I bring that up is that these are habitual things that we do. And the reality of it is you can set a stage for yourself to say that I want my heartbeat to only be at 70 beats per minute from now for the rest of my life. And then you can walk in that. So that is true that you wouldn't need any outside anything in order for you to accomplish that, because you're practicing breathing the way that you practice breathing all day, every day anyway. All you have to do is just adjust what you're doing. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and to that, like you said, we're habitual breathers, we're habitual thinkers. And so like, since we're breathing, if we practice that slow breath, we can have more control and have that low heart rate. And then the same thing with thinking. If we practice not thinking, we can remember that thinking doesn't have to be involuntary. We get to control our thoughts and the thoughts that we have. And because again, we have the control, we have that, but we give over the things we actually have control over in favor of trying to control things that we can never ever control. And it's just funny how we do that. Like we think, okay, I'm gonna give this up, but I'm gonna take this. But like, no, you can't. This is not under your control, and it never will be. But the one thing that is, you're trying to give this away to other circumstances, other people, other ideas, other thoughts. Don't do that no more.
It's funny when you say that, because it shows that our logic is, because there are things that we can't control, there are things within us we can't control too, right? It's like, because I don't have control of this stuff, I can't control this stuff. And the reality of it is, if you control this stuff, you also control that stuff, but you got to control this stuff first. And it's just it's a beautiful thing. Even when I talk about the people that I have in my life are because of the emotions, the mental way that I think, the outlook on life. Those are things that I control. That's the reason why I have the people in my life that are there, because I've already controlled what my insider was supposed to be, so my world reflects it. And it doesn't mean that I don't have some people in my life that, because I haven't recognized why they're there, it's not something that I haven't put there, but I put it there. And I might want them for another reason. And one thing that I always would tell my wife about, because she likes to say that I talk loud, which I do talk loud. It's just a part of my Troy, right?
Yeah.
But whenever I go around my friends, they all know I talk loud too. The reason why they bring me around is because something in them tells them they want that voice there right now. I need this voice that's louder than everybody else's, because he might have something to say that somebody else won't say. But it's the same thing. When I invite someone around me that's not as loud as me, that's quiet or maybe not talk, it's because something in me is that I've set is saying that I need that calming factor. I want this thing to make me be a little bit more subtle with what I got going on. But again, you control the outside by controlling what's on the inside first. But go ahead, Jay.
I love that, because some people might be thinking like, how does the inside control the outside? It's like you said, like you attract certain things, you repel certain things, and it's all based on your current vibration. Like, have you, okay, let's say it from the giving perspective, have you ever had a person around you that, like, no matter what you said, like they soaked it up and really appreciated it? It made you want to give more and talk more and give more. Yeah, and it's the same thing on the receiving end. Like when we're in a state of gratitude, everything around us wants to just give to us because we really appreciate it. We're like, man, thank you. This is amazing. I never thought of it like that. I never had experienced this. Thank you for that. And like when it's that genuineness, you want, everything wants to give to that energy. And like nobody is exempt from it, which is why we should always be in a state of gratitude as much as possible by just being thankful, by looking for things that we truly are grateful for and recognize it. Because regardless of what's happening in the world, everybody is grateful for something, anything. It's so many. Like I'm grateful for my AirPods. Like it helps me. Like I really am. But we don't allow ourselves to see what we're grateful for, so we don't end up in that energetic state that we attract all the gifts that we would love to receive.
Bro, that mug is definitely a circle of life, a circle of gratitude. And the funny thing is, like, I have kids that I'm a substitute at school, and I have kids that I don't again, I'm saying to this audience now that people are in your life because of what you're doing on the inside. So I have some kids that, if you were to ask me on surface level, I would say they cantankerous, they crazy, they bad, just because that's just a general response from an adult looking at kids that are not behaving in the way that you foresaw in a moment, right? But even getting outside of that, sometimes I have kids that will act a certain way, and I understand what's in me and what I want back. So I would call those kids over and be like, look, I think that you are completely amazing. And I know that you could have got your work done faster than you got it done. Next time, that's what I want to see, because I just know what you're capable of. And I would leave them with something like, you're great, right? And you can literally just see the kid smile. You can see them. This is a kid that's been acting crazy all class, right? And you can see them smile. So the next time I have that kid, now this kid is okay. Now again, this kid that I'm talking about is the class clown that doesn't want to do anything, right? They just want to do their thing. But you can see when they come in this next time, they like, okay, Mr. Washington here, and they'll hurry up and get their work done, because what they're looking for now is they want that same feeling that I gave them the last time. But this is the beautiful part about it, right? I'm telling you what they're seeking from me, but how do you think it makes me feel to give it to them again? I'm talking about what I control on the inside of me that changes the outside. I feel better. They're doing their work even more. They're happy about it, but I controlled all of that because I didn't fold to what the general adult would do or how they felt, and reacted based off of the way my inside is. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, it was funny about that too. Like I've seen this done for me, and I've done it as well. Like somebody is very appreciative of what you're giving you, and you like, you know what? I'm gonna do this for you. Let me reach out to this on your behalf. Let me do this, and like, but you genuinely want to, because you know that they're appreciating it and they're receiving it in a beautiful way. And I've been on the other side of that where somebody like, man, I'm like, man, you sure, man? I'm not like, no, I want to do this. Here, take this, go do this, and it's beautiful. So like, yeah, if you take nothing else from this episode, try to be in, no, not try, be in that state of gratitude as much as you can. Practice that like you practice slow breath, like you practice no thought.
Bro, I would tell you, this is the test, man. When somebody gives you a compliment, really be gracious and tell them how thankful you are of the comment. Just be gracious, and watch how many times they give you that kind of feedback over and over again. That's number one. And back to the point of overworking and thriving, so that way we can kind of bring this all home with it. And this gracious and gratitude mentality that you're talking about, when you're overworking, there is no graciousness or gratitude there. The only thing you have is force and opposition. And that should be key enough for you to recognize that you have to change your thinking of it all. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. Thriving comes from flow, not force. And that is true. Like when I was feeling overworked, when I told you about that Wednesday, I was not appreciative. I was not at all. Like I couldn't buy, like you couldn't pay me to be appreciative at that point. Like, man, I just knew I had to break away and do nothing to get into that state of gratitude, that state of appreciation. Because it's almost like, what are you doing all this hard work for? And you sometimes need that reminder. You need to be around that, or in the element of that state where you can let the appreciation flow. And so then when it comes time to act after that, it's so easy, it's so genuine, and you're appreciative of it. Like, again, you don't know how appreciative I am that my to-do list is 0. Like, bro. Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I can't even imagine it. I'm appreciating it with you, because I would love the same for myself. But you can't even imagine how much or how appreciative I am of ChatGPT. Like, but for the simple fact of me opening it up to it. And I'm not talking about, but it's just a simple fact of, because I felt like all the stuff that we were going to be doing was going to be overworking me. I found and utilized a way for me to simplify for myself, to make it easy. And now when I do it, there's so much gratitude and graciousness in every step. Even looking at Perfect Mode episodes again, which just reliving something that's so great, it's just I can't even express it to you, bro. And so like, I can't stress enough or encourage people that you have to move with gratitude in order for it to not be overworking. But go ahead, Jay.
I mean, okay. I'm glad you said that about like rewatching Perfect Mode, because the example is not only are we great, but we don't always take time to recognize our own greatness. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, I make music, but oftentimes when I'm listening to my songs, I'm listening for the mixing component. Like, okay, I need to bring this level up. Man, I probably should have said this like this. Maybe I'll redo this part. Maybe, like, I'm not listening in it as a listener. But once I take all that off and I listen to it, like, I'm amazed but I don't do that all the time. And it's crazy that I don't. Like I should. And I say this to say as a reminder to everyone, like we should take time to really appreciate just ourselves more without any validation from others. Not, hey, do you appreciate this song too? Do you appreciate this thing? I could know you, like you, for you, just you appreciate it.
So that goes back to the point that we were making earlier by just, I say a second, but it might be 5 minutes. It might be 10 minutes, but you have to stop, breathe, and recognize you are special. You are special. You have it all. And not only do you have it all, if you don't feel like it's inside of you, you put it on the outside of you. You put everything around you. You put everybody around you. You've done all this work. There's no need to overwork anymore. Utilize. Me and Jay Clay, when we were pushing Every Child Wins Hard, all we were doing was looking for money for somebody to get behind it. And I had people on the side of us trying to give us money all the time. Like, hey, man, y'all need to take this. We were like, no, we don't want to take your money. We need to go get this money. We were overworking ourselves in ways that we shouldn't have. And it was because we couldn't appreciate all that we had done before. We didn't look at ourselves and see what we created. And it's just important for you to take time to see how complex you are, see how much you have, see what you're able to do, and then see what you've created, so that way you can stop overworking and start thriving the way that you're supposed to. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Every Child Wins is a company that we infuse music with learning tools. So like if you have young kids, just Google Every Child Wins and you'll hear some fire number songs, ABC songs, spelling songs, numbers, colors, all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's so true. Like this is what we're doing this for. And for some reason we felt guilty of accepting help, but it was simply because we weren't appreciating the magnitude of what we were doing for ourselves. We were just, I don't know. I don't know. We were overworked, like you said, and you can't see clearly. You can't think logically when you're under something like under the spell of being overworked.
And I'll say this too, just to add, because I want to make sure we drive this point home, fam. Like we were overworked, but we chose that. And anytime you're being overworked, you're choosing that in the moment. Like when you go to work every day and you don't want to go, you are upset about that every single day, but you choose to go every day. And there's always a way out of it if you choose to give yourself the time to sit down, decompress, and realize what I'm capable of. Look, I understand I'm 43 now, bro, and I'm gonna be 44. And at 44, because I look deeper and deeper every day, I start to realize even more and more what I can do, or what I should do, or how I should do it. And again, you would think that at age 25, 20 years is enough after you've been wild and lived in the streets and did everything that you recognize it all. But you are ever evolving. You are ever growing. You are ever learning. Every moment you see something that you don't see, but you see it. You are the ultimate computer. You have it all. And the reality of it is, if you take the second to realize what that is, it changes everything for you. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Every belief comes with its own world. So you won't know what you know until you just join that world, until you accept a certain belief or reject another belief. Well, you technically can't reject. You can just add more beliefs toward what you want. But, you know, to say I'm overwhelmed is a world in itself. To say I'm going to allow myself to be free of this, I'm going to allow myself to thrive, is another world that you get to experience certain things. So even like you said, even if you made all these decisions in the past, it has no bearing on the now moment, because the now is always from a new perspective based on the beliefs that are coming to the surface right now.
So I know we're at the end, man, and I just want to tell everybody that, you know, we're grateful for everybody being here, joining us, and hopefully we help you realize that you are perfect. And if you are just jumping on at the end of the show, the reason why we say that you're perfect is because you are one of one, numero uno, and what you have to provide to us, we need. Just the same way that we feel like what we have to provide is something that somebody else needs. And truth enough, man, bro, sometimes I've heard the same thing over and over again, and it was literally the right person that told me, even though it was the same thing that somebody else said, for it to click in order for me to move in the way that I needed to move. So I want y'all to understand that you're hearing from us today that you are perfect. You are perfect. And if you feel like this show can be helpful to someone else, please like, share, and subscribe. You can join our YouTube. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We don't know, we just grateful for you more than anything that we could ever say. But go ahead, Jay. You can take us out, baby.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all again, too, rocking with us on this show. We hit every Sunday at 12 noon Central. So, yeah, just join us. Hit us up in the comments if you got questions about anything, any topics you want us to explore, any more things. But just appreciate y'all. And remember, you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well accept your perfection and enter perfect mode.
If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm Jay Clay, rapper and spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect.
Perfect.